Hey folks, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Station, home of the First Time Finish Guarantee, world's largest online triathlon team. You know the story. You can find us online at www.endurancestation.us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you're watching or listening, I want to talk to you today a little bit about run breathing. It is early May here in 2014, and every year at the beginning of the season, I think I, as an athlete, but also you, encounters things, signs, changes, developments in your fitness that really remind you of some key elements of what it means to perform at a certain level. So, we all remember what we did last year. I remember how fast I was running and riding and swimming last year, and I carry that with me now, and I have expectations upon me right now based on that performance from years past. But of course, my fitness is a little lower. I took some time off. I'm rebuilding, just like many of us do. So I can't go out and run, bike, or swim just as fast as I was last year. But I'm working my way back up there. And one of the things that we forget now in this place where you are right now with that memory of last year's fastest swim, bike, or run time is you kind of forget, part of the human condition, right? We kind of forget just how hard we work to be able to run that fast or ride that fast or swim that fast. It's just part of the deal. If we remember just how hard it was and we forgot about the speed part, not too many people will be signing up for just tons and tons of hard work, right? And we want the outcome, and the outcomes drive us. But getting closer and closer to those outcomes every year, that process of losing a little bit of fitness and gaining back is a big learning opportunity for me. Right? At some point in time, when we get to a certain level of fitness, whatever your standard may be, we kind of take a lot of things for granted. We take being able to run that fast for granted, or to do that one particular bike ride in a certain amount of time. You tell your spouse, "Hey, honey, I'll be home in an hour and 23 minutes because that's my bike ride. That's what I do." But of course, in March or April, it takes you like an hour and 30 minutes. And you're like, "Whoa, what happened? Why am I 7 minutes slower?" So that process of getting closer and closer every year, losing and coming back to that peak level of fitness is an opportunity to learn. And so today I want to talk a little bit about one of my lessons that I just had from running. I just did our Blue Ridge Cycling Camp, which is an annual trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains in late April, early May. It's 4 days of epic cycling. I put in 315 miles on the bike with something in the neighborhood of 30,000. Just great riding, super opportunity. And my fitness is way up. Super boost in my fitness than I've had in a long time. I'm running, and aerobically, I am super duper fit. But my running speed isn't there yet. My running legs haven't really come around yet. So I have the fitness because of my cycling to be able to handle a high level of work and the expectation mentally of what it means to handle that kind of work. But what I don't have is the running legs to match that. And so there's a little bit of a disconnect. I'm a little struggling there. And what it made me think about, for all of this lead up is building to this, is my run breathing. And I think it's super important. We've been meditating a little bit at night with the kids here at home. And one of the things that I noticed is how people breathe. And if you take yoga or if you're into meditation, etc., this may be a no-brainer for you. But for those of you who haven't, I want you just to stop for a second and take a deep breath. Okay, just take a deep breath and blow it out. Okay, now put your hands on your upper chest as well, okay, and do it again and blow it out. And what you'll find is that the majority of us hold that breath in our upper body. Again, I'll do it again. I'm going to change the camera for those of you who are watching. All right, put my hands here next to this well-dressed penguin, and I'm going to breathe in. You can see my hands rise and fall with my chest, right? Because I'm breathing into the upper part of my chest. I'm breathing directly into what I, mentally assume are my lungs. Bring that air in. But we have a diaphragm, which is in charge of your breathing, and that is actually just below your rib cage, where your rib cage ends. That's where your diaphragm is. So on me, again, if I put my hands on my chest bone and I work my way down to where it ends, right here, I've got my diaphragm right below it. It feels like a big balloon in here, okay? And that is really where we want you to breathe. Now, I spent probably about 24 hours of cycling at really high elevations, biking hard in the Blue Ridge Mountains, suffering with my breathing. So I had a lot of time to think about my breathing. And what I realized was I was carrying so much of my breath in my upper body that it made actually moving difficult. And I really feel it on the run. So what I want you to do now is, instead of having your hands on your chest, work your way down that chest bone, find your diaphragm, put your hands on your diaphragm, which is roughly, let me back up a little bit here, roughly kind of here, middle of my chest. Let me move the camera down so you can see a little better. Right about here, okay, so I work my way down the chest bone, it ends, here's my diaphragm, okay, put your hands here, and I want you to breathe in here, and breathe out, okay, side view, goes out, comes in. Comes in. Chest breathing is up here, right? Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay? Side view. Goes out. Comes in. Chest breathing is up here, right? Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay? Side view. Goes out. Comes in. Chest breathing is up here, right? Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay? Side view. Goes out. Comes in. Chest breathing is up here, right? When I chest breathe, you can see my upper body rise. It actually tenses a bit and then drops. Belly breathing happens down here. And when you belly breathe, nothing changes up in your upper body. You're not moving your traps, you're not moving your shoulders, your pecs, none of that's moving. And why that becomes really important for running is when you're running at high paces or high intensities, especially on race day, you're moving your arms, you're twisting your body. There's a lot going on with your upper body. You start adding high-level breathing, really intense breathing that comes with that high effort, that race effort, your interval work. All of a sudden, it gets really hard to breathe because you're fighting what you're trying to do in your upper body. So, doing your run interval, so the next time you're in a race, don't let your breath get away from you. Take that breath and put it down into your diaphragm. Put it down, moving your upper body around, and be comfortable and still relaxed and maintain your form. And it'll put your breath in a place where it's much more effective. And in fact, when you start breathing really, really hard, focus more on the exhalation, forcing out the CO2, forcing out that bad air so you can get good fresh air in. Okay, a lot of people tend to gasp in, and when you try and pull that air in, it's natural to pull that air in into your chest. Instead of worrying about pulling that air in, I want you to push that air out of your belly. And when you do that, when you let go, the diaphragm naturally opens up. Just like you take a squeezy toy that your kids may have in the bathtub, you squirt them with. If you squeeze it tight, force all the air out of it, and put it underwater, and let go, it naturally fills up with water. Okay, we want the same thing with your diaphragm for your breathing. Force that bad air out, and naturally the breath in will happen on its own, and you'll be ready to go again. Okay, so to recap, when you're doing that higher intensity effort, especially now early in the season, and you're mindful of many different things, especially trying to hit your previous goal times, which will come. I promise it will come. Take that breathing that you normally in your upper chest and your shoulders and your back, drive it down to your diaphragm where you want it to happen. Allow yourself, upper body, to remain relaxed. Really focus on that breathing in your belly almost. Also, when it really gets hard, focus on the exhalation, pushing that bad air out, and let the good air come in on its own. All right? Strange little tip, a little different than what we normally talk about here, but on my run today, really, really felt it. Was able to get into a much more comfortable place at a higher effort level because I wasn't trying to manage 2 or 3 different things in the same place in my body. I was able to put that breathing into a place where I could manage and control it and almost operate 2 systems in a parallel fashion. And I thought that was really helpful. I wanted to share that with you guys. All right. This is Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation with a little bit of a wishy-washy, interesting tip, but I think you may like it. And if you do, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, whether you're listening to the podcast or you're watching this on YouTube. This is Coach Patrick from Endurance Nation. You can find us online at endurancenation.us. We'll be traveling the country this year, not only doing our camps, but also appearing at several races with the team. We are the 2013 Ironman Tri-Club champions, officially the world's largest and most active Ironman triathlon team there is. Thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys online soon, or perhaps even at the races, with your belly breathing, of course. See you guys.